No, I'm back. Oh no, there we go. Lights have come back on. Okay, sorry about that. least because of his women within his community. There's no other account of a first century or later century Jewish rabbi accepting women within their community. How different it all would have been. Hey, ladies, 2,000 years ago, we would have had feminism. For us chaps here, awkward, fairly big mistake. We couldn't believe how big his vision was, so we made it smaller. Sorry. Will you forgive us, ladies? Thinking about it, okay. Fairly big mistake, isn't it? But I do think there is something important about looking into how Jesus was a first century rabbi and his similarities, but also his distinctive difference. I think that would be a whole area of study that I know not very much about, but I think that's where the community out in a place called Netanya, just south of Tel Aviv, are really helpful to us, called One for Israel. Their work is very, very good in this sort of area. I'd like to write to them about it. Very lastly, in case you're wondering what this thing is over on the right here, it is the idea that what these people discovered, just to give you an idea where science itself is going now, how sophisticated it is, it actually is not only able to measure what's in the shroud. Their hypothesis is that the huge explosion of energy that caused the second image in the shroud was actually a series of explosions, if you like, for want of a better word, and that can be studied in the same way as you would study anything else that was a stroboscopic effect. And what they believe is actually happening is that Jesus is raising his arm, like that. And that's why there's a distinct blurring on his right arm. It's actually that he's moving, and so he is alive. I know, right? I'm not sure, but that's their hypothesis. Next one, please. Nearly done. I think we've got... Oh, yes. I scrapped the other one. That's what I was going to show you first. Sorry, I confused myself. The other major area they've worked out, for those of you who are pure physicists, is they're reasonably sure now the main way, there's a number of ways, but the main way of working out how this image could be created. If it's not enough, it wouldn't create an image. If it's too much, it would fry the cloth. Do you see what I mean? So they've worked it out that it would have to be something like 34,000 billion watts of light, which is more than we have on the whole planet, through the body, through the cloth, for a 40th of a millionth of a second, all at the same time. Strange, isn't it? It's not the only way, but it is the main way. 60% of scientists would say this. Another 40% would actually argue for other hypotheses. But it's the main way that people think that this could happen. And it's the only way it can work for that image to be created. Last one. Are you able to go back to the other one, George? That's it. This picture was taken from the... I thought I'd start with the Wells image, and I thought I'd finish with the Wells image. Sorry, June. This image on the far right here is the image that, if you took the face of the shroud, an artist has worked on that in the same way as the 3D modelers have done, and enabled Jesus to be, if you like, return to what he was like before the cross, and to open his eyes. And that's probably the closest image we have of what Jesus would have looked like. And I would just like to conclude, for me now, I would say, and this is just for me, I think I've come to the conclusion that it has to be. I think the possibility of it being anything other than the burial cloth and the resurrection cloth of Jesus is, I would say, within 4 or 5%. I would say 90, 95% that it probably is now the actual genuine article. And why does that matter? As I was trying to explain to our friends who are here this morning at the Wednesday morning communion service, this doesn't just mean good news for Jesus. It doesn't just mean good news for all those who we love and have died. It means the radical transformation of our world. Because resurrection isn't just what happens to people when they die. That's called ascension. Ascension is what happens to you when you die. You go to be with God in heaven. There's not that much in the Bible about it, apart from Jesus' own ascension, but I think there's good evidence that he will look after you. Resurrection, which is far more common in the Bible, and is obviously much more associated with Jesus and with the writings of St. Paul, is what happens after resurrection, after ascension. You go to be with God in heaven, and then one day God will bring the whole of heaven to earth, and actually everything will be made new. And Jesus' resurrection is the foretaste of what that looks like. The recreation of this beautiful world. Taking all that's beautiful and keeping it, but all that isn't beautiful and transforming it. So it's good news. Good news to have hope. And he looks at you, into your heart. What's interesting, and I'll finish with this point, and then we'll have some questions and answers. I was very taken with a gentleman who looked at all this from a forensic point of view. He was the assistant head pathologist for New York, who'd seen thousands, literally thousands, of traumatic deaths over his time. And he was asked to look at the crowd material, all the forensics to do with it. When he finished, what haunted him, he said, was the face. Because in all his experience, every traumatic death, whether it be from fire or bullet wounds, gunfights, whatever it might be, accidents, the person had a contorted face because they were in such pain. Jesus couldn't change his face, or his facial expression, and yet we know he went through so much. Strange, isn't it? Does that make any sense? Sorry, I'm tired now, but does that make any sense? It's totally unique. I didn't know that. But it's there in the cloth. So his acceptance of humanity's inability to love, and yet holding out for humanity's ability to change and to love again. Brilliant. So to him, he has the last word. Thank you for listening. Are we going to keep people online, or are we going to say goodbye to everybody? God bless everyone. Thank you for listening. Hopefully that was helpful. We'll do another one in a couple of years, maybe, if something new happens.